Hi, Marty here, and today I'm just doing a very short video on where you can find my book, The Little Rad Book, Season 137, Part 1. It is a free download on Smashwords, and all you have to do is do a search for The Little Rad Book, and it should pop up, and you'll find it by this logo. You'll be able to identify it by this logo. I'll also provide a link to it in my show notes on YouTube. Well, today's video is about nuclear trolls, and if you have been a victim of being bullied on the internet, especially Twitter, this goes on Twitter a lot, and basically I suspect, I can't prove it, but I suspect that there are people who are being paid to harangue and hassle anyone with an anti-nuclear voice. And they do it very systematically, they do it very methodically, and their tactics are very predictable. So the best way to deal with them, as I'm going to show you in this video, is do not feed the trolls. I'll tell you, the first time I was harassed or bullied by one of these trolls was by an individual that goes by the name of Climate Pup on Twitter. And when I first started tweeting about nuclear issues, it was real basic things, about, how, we're going to die, death, doom, nuclear radiation is killing us. And while all that's true, it just attracted these nuclear trolls, and they would attack me, and I know they've attacked plenty of others. And they may start out like asking you a question, asking for information, maybe asking you to cite sources, which is fine. I don't have a problem with any of that, because normally I do cite sources. I mean, in my book, The Little Rad Book, I have over 10 pages of sources that I list in the end of the book. But regardless, you need to be on your guard, and always, before you respond to somebody who may or may not have a hidden agenda, you need to click on their link and find out exactly what kind of tweets they're sending out. If they've been haranguing or hassling other anti-nuclear voices, people with an anti-nuclear opinion, or anti-nuclear activists, you need to be aware of who you're dealing with. Now, the best advice I ever got was from my millennial son, and he said, "Mom, don't feed the trolls. Do not respond to the trolls. If you respond to them, they win." And he's right. So I took his advice, and whenever I'm being singled out or harassed by a troll, they start probing. They'll probe you, and what they'll do is they will try to escalate the situation so that you get angry, and then you sound foolish, and you can't win. So this is the quote that he basically told me. He says, "You respond to them, they win." I was like, "Well, what if I provide information and documentation?" He's like, "It doesn't matter. You respond, they win." So this is how I have figured out how to deal with nuclear trolls. And I just want to give a real quick definition of the word hassle. So, it means to pester, nag, harass, badger, hound, bother, torment. These are all the type of things that they do. We can even go as far to say that they're bullies, they're cyber bullies. And the reason I feel that they are paid to do this is they spend an inordinate amount of time on the internet searching out people to harass and hassle and bully. with their pro-nuclear banter. Now, there's nothing wrong with being pro-nuclear. There's a lot of people that I know that I respect that are pro-nuclear, and that's okay. But we need to show respect to others and not attack them because their beliefs are different than ours. So I'm going to close out of that page. And what I always do is I use the 25 rules of disinformation. And usually I link to this Vigilant Citizen website because they have the 25 rules of disinformation very clearly spelled out. And they cite that it comes to it's from the book called 25 Ways to Suppress the Truth, the Rules of Disinformation, and this includes the 8 Traits of a Disinformationalist by H. Michael Sweeney. And you can see this. I mean, if you watch the mainstream media, it's just runs rampant with this. And they're very specifically spelled out. I'm not going to go into them. I'm going to provide the links, and then you can go over them in your free time at your leisure, and they're all spelled out for you right here. And I'm just going to scroll through it. Now I'm going to show you some other pages that cover basically the same thing. It looks pretty much like they copy and pasted the same content onto their blog, which is fine because, you know, these are all credible bloggers, and they give credit to the source, so there's nothing wrong with that. By the way, if you're a blogger and you want to use my information, any blogs or any blog post entries or anything from my website, feel free to copy and paste it to your blog. That's not a problem, just as long as at the top you provide credit and a backlink to me. That's not a problem. All right, so that's the Vigilant Citizen website, which is a pretty good one. Now, when you do this, make sure that you link back to the 25 rules of the disinformation. You can use the Vigilant Citizen website. You can use this website as well, and this is from, where is this from? I can't see it. My thing's blocking it. Okay, this is a really good one, and it has basically the same information. And I'm going to provide a link to this as well. I believe it's from the Whale website, and they go into a little bit more information in the beginning, and then they go right into the 25 rules of disinformation. And then you can you can cover the distinct traits, and they go right into the 8 traits of the disinformationist. And the 8 traits are: 1, avoidance; 2, selectivity, because they will selectively target you, and they try and single you out, a lot like you know, separating you from the herd or from the pack. It's coincidental, and you'll find that they'll get their cronies in on it. Whether or not they're actually real people that are getting involved in ganging up on you is debatable. It could be that they have sock puppet accounts. It just all seems too coincidental, if you ask me. Like, they log out and then they log back in. You'll see that sometimes these accounts are like newer accounts, and that's what I suspect. They work in team, they work in tandem. They're anti-conspiratorial. They will go against you, they will attack you, they will accuse you of being a conspiracy theorist. Listen, if there's documented evidence proving that what you're saying is correct and you can provide it, then it's not a conspiracy. It's documented evidence. It's a fact. They will try and create artificial emotions. They're inconsistent. They have time constraint, and all these other examples down here. Okay, so this is a really good website, and I'll provide a link to that. Here we have Washington's blog, and the author of this does a really great job, and he credits it back to H. Michael Sweeney. And in his preference, he says that they cover the games which disinformationists used on the internet on and offline. And as I mentioned before, you can see it in the mainstream media. That's not, you know, that you can play a game with it all night if you want to. You can keep track of it. And then he goes over it, and they're basically the same thing that were listed in the Vigilant Citizen website and the Whale website. But down here at the bottom, and I've been doing this too, and you know, it isn't on this one. Okay, so it's not on this one. It's on this page, and how to spot and defeat disruption on the internet. And he goes over all these ways that they predictably try to disrupt you and target you. As I mentioned, you know, sock puppets, army of sock puppets, very, very typical. And down here at the end, he has a postscript, and he says that the most effective way to fight disruption and disinformation is to link to a post such as this one. I usually link to the 25 Rules of Disinformation, which rounds up the disruption techniques and then cite the Disinfo technique that's being used. It's very effective. They will leave you alone.